Hey everybody, how you doing? Tom Barnas here on the Front Stoop. And about 10 years ago, I decided to take a trip to Paris in London. And it was a life-altering trip. I mean, London was fantastic. It was a place where you go and you're like, oh, I feel like I've been here before and I could totally live here. It was just magical, right? And then you hop on the underground train, the channel, or whatever they call it, and you go to Paris. And it was a little bit of a unique experience, right? You know, you get off at the train station and right away people are trying to scam you into taking like their cab to go 2 miles and for, $1,000, right? Which is kind of one of the things that happened to me almost. Luckily enough, we figured it out. Hopped in an Uber, just using the Uber app, and went on my merry way. And it was a life-changing trip at that part of the leg of the trip as well in Paris. I mean, I walk down the Champs-Élysées and saw the Arc de Triomphe and the Louvre and Notre Dame and all these things. And it was a wonderful time. And I had about a 6-year-old daughter at home at the time. So like, what kind of dad am I if I don't bring home souvenirs for my kids? I had a son at the time, who I still have a son at the time, but I have 3 kids now. So I had 2 at the time. So my daughter was about 6. My son was about 3. I go to Paris. In London, I brought my son something from London. I think it was a double-decker bus, little car thing. Brought my daughter a replica of the Eiffel Tower. And I give it to her, and she was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, for 6-year-olds, right? And she's like, Daddy, I want to go to Paris. And I said, okay, well, you know what? We'll go when you're 16. She's 6 at the time. So I'm thinking, I got plenty of time to worry about that. Well, my friends, that was this year, 2025. My baby girl has turned 16 in July. So she's like, and every year since she was 6, she's like, you're taking me to Paris. You're taking me to Paris, right? So I was like, yeah, I mean, why not? Let's go to Paris. Me and her, we're very much alike. We're both introverts in a way. I'm probably a little less of an introvert than my daughter is. And, she said she didn't want to fill her social bucket, right? Which I agree with and I understand. And going to Paris, though, you got to have some exceptions to the rule of the social bucket. Meaning, you kind of have to do a lot of things in a short amount of time because we weren't there for a long time. So I preemptively talked with her and told her about all that I had planned, right? Because she didn't plan for anything. She's 16, so I get it. I asked her to give me a wish list, and she, on the wish list, number 1, as you can imagine, is the Eiffel Tower. So I'm playing some video of our trip, just short little snippets that I did on, for Instagram, and put it up on there and had all the fun of our trip. So, I just wanted to document the trip and I wanted her to have a good time, but it's just the 2 of us. So, a little wary of going on a trip and making sure your daughter has a good time. You're in a foreign city. I don't speak French whatsoever, but I wanted her to have a good time. So we go to Paris and it's stunningly beautiful. Go to the Louvre and we were able to take a hop on, hop off tour on our 3rd day. That's kind of how the video goes. So I'm kind of going along with the video. Got to see the Arc de Triomphe. And it's just in its beauty and how wonderful that is when you're driving on a hop on, hop off bus tour after 3 days of walking everywhere. It's wonderful to do that. Looking at the Olympia, which is a venue in Paris where like the Beatles and the Stones plays, we saw this wonderful cafe where we sat down and I had steak frites. It was phenomenal. It was my daughter's first time really enjoying the French cafe for like dinner, and then we just kind of walked around. We bummed around Paris all over the place, just wandering around and seeing the Louvre. The park that's connected to Louvre was kind of a happy accident because our hotel is kind of on it. So we walked in there, and every once in a while we'd stop and we'd take a nice video of the Eiffel Tower. I'm showing video of walking through the garden right now, but at the top you can see the Eiffel Tower far off in the distance. And, it was just a wonderful time. I was really glad that I was able to experience Paris with my daughter, Lou. And, and all in all, we had a really good time. Since we're both alike, we both got tired about the same time of day. But we kind of just enjoyed it and embraced it. And I did plan out the trip to a degree. We had one day where it was an entire from like 9 to 4 walking tour a day. And that's where we really got to see some of the wonderful things of Paris. But on the days of like the hop on, hop off tour, we kind of just hopped on and hopped off as we saw fit and just, soaked in the city. But the tour, though, got us up to the Basilica that's kind of at the top of Paris, right? And then we also took like this tram that got us up to the top, and you get to see just how beautiful Paris is. I mean, it is stunningly beautiful. And I'm like a little bit of a hopeless romantic. So showing my daughter there when we were there how beautiful Paris could be. And the day we were there on this walking tour was stunning. There was no clouds. It was like 60 degrees outside. And then on that particular day, they had like a wine festival at the top of the Basilica that is in Paris, right? And all these vineyards are out there with their little pop-ups, and there's food and there's cheese, and the tour guide's like, oh my gosh, this is so great that you have this today. You should really enjoy it. But we walk through that particular town, and the name is escaping me of the town that's by the Basilica that's up on the hillside here. But it's very art friendly. I mean, there's a plaza that you're looking at right now that is just beautiful. I mean, you feel like you're kind of in a Hallmark movie the entire time, but in a good way. Like I was a sub story of a Hallmark movie, at Christmas where, daughter and dad are in Paris, and then, daughter finds true love with some guy she meets in Paris. It's kind of the vibe that it felt like. So I was doing my part as the dad, just kind of showing her around Paris, and we stumbled upon a protest. So naturally, which the guy in the tour guide was very much like, it's very, very Paris, very French to be at a protest. And then they had like these guys playing the drums here, kind of reenacting an old Napoleon battle, if you will, during the French Revolutionary War or something. I can't remember what the guy said. Either way, it was just fun to hang out and walk around and walk the cobblestone streets and taste the food. I mean, it was just, it was so good. And, you try to be respectful of everybody there and not have your phone out like a typical American tourist trying to record everything. So I try to do everything in short snippets of our time there because I wanted to enjoy it, really. I didn't want to just sit and live behind a phone, which has happened to me in the past for other things. So as we were on our tour and walking, I just kind of shot as we walked, like literally holding my phone up, enjoying this is one of the things I loved. I loved our croissant and coffee little dates that we had. And then we're out walking the streets again of Paris. And I just love the outdoor cafes where they just have them right there in the middle of the city. It's just so much fun. And, I was so happy that I was able to show her this and show her the way Parisians live, especially going to the Louvre with a tour guide. I would recommend, just because there's so much there. You can spend like a month there and not see everything. So to go with like a tour guide to highlight things besides the Mona Lisa is very helpful, because yes, the Mona Lisa is cool, but the only reason why the Mona Lisa is famous is because it was stolen, kind of like the jewels that happened right after we left. But you're looking right now at like the hall of all these statues, and I mean, obviously this one is one of the most important of all time. But there's so much more to the Louvre than the Mona Lisa that I would tell any tourist, especially from America, who thinks that the end-all be-all is the Mona Lisa. It's tiny, and there's so much more. Like, look at this room. I mean, come on. Incredibly beautiful. You feel like you're in a different time with all of this. And I just wanted to capture us hanging out there and really embracing the Louvre. I think we spent better part of 4 hours in the Louvre, walking around. We probably walked like 20,000 steps this particular day, because there's just all these, you just don't realize how big the Louvre is until you're there. There's the Mona Lisa. Because it's like 3 giant wings. There's an underground portion, but they go for like blocks and blocks, and they're huge. And you go underground, you go above ground, and then you get into the pyramid, which is just, you get why it's there. And it's explained to us the reason why it's there is because they wanted to let all this natural light in underground and not make it feel like an underground tomb, right? So, and of course, there's the Seine River, stunning. It's a similar, and I'm going to make this comparison only because I'm from Chicago, but I would say Chicago's riverfront is on par, if not better than the Seine River, just because, and it's not as old, right? I mean, I guess it is as old if you're thinking about geological times, but not as old as far as a city being recognized, but still beautiful. And of course, you got Notre Dame, which is right there, and you get to walk up there, experience that. You have somebody tell you about all of those saints that you're looking at right there, all the individual little pieces of history. I mean, it's just a really great time. It really is. And there's like stands, and my daughter, I just kept looking at her because I wanted to embrace her seeing it for the first time. And at first I was a little disappointed because she wasn't like, "Oh my God, Dad, this is amazing. Thanks for taking me." I mean, I think I even made fun of it at one point in the video of us seeing, like, I mean, we're looking at Notre Dame, which has been in movies, it's been in books and poems and everything else. And then of course they have like this is like something she lit up about, because they have a metro that's like our L, here in Chicago, where we ride it. It's above ground. I mean, they have the underground parts as well, but the above ground is the part where she's like, "Oh, this is like at home, Dad." And she was like, that's where she lit up, which I thought was interesting. So it made me think about her reaction and how I perceive her reaction. And then I got to the point after talking to a friend of mine, it's like, just let her be whatever it is. Like, her reaction is her reaction. And I shouldn't hold any stock in what to expect out of it. I should just appreciate that we got to spend time there, and she's probably processing it. I mean, she's 16 years old. She lives on the northwest side of the city in Morton Grove with her mom, and very not sheltered. That's not the right word. I mean, yes, sheltered to a degree, because we don't live in bad parts of Chicago, or Morton Grove is not a gross suburb. But, sheltered in the sense that, her mom and dad really take care of her, and her step-parents really take care of her and kind of shelter her from a lot of the crap in the world. So showing her something like Paris and the Eiffel Tower, like, I mean, she did light up the first time she saw it. The first day we were there was kind of overcast. So on the second day, we went back on that walking tour because it was the end of it, and we saw the Eiffel Tower lit up in the sunshine, and it was gorgeous. And it kind of negated some of the ill feelings you had about it being, the first day we went when it was cloudy, because on the first day it was cloudy. It was also the day we arrived after being on a plane for like 12 hours. So we were kind of zonked, but getting on a boat ride and enjoying the city from the Seine and seeing the Eiffel Tower, that was actually spectacular. We had a good time. We got to rest our feet, as she would say. Our dogs were barking, so we kind of just hung out and enjoyed that time. And everything I read about going to Paris, it was like, don't take the river cruise dinner thing. That's kind of lame, because if you go anywhere in any city in America and you do a river cruise, you're not really expecting it to be all that great as far as the food. You're there for the scenery. So we had some snacks and we enjoyed the scenery, and really just marveled at the architecture and listening to what people were telling us about the different buildings and what was gifted to them by certain countries. I mean, you're looking at and then we saw dancing on the river, which I kind of just loved. Just dancing on the river in Paris was just phenomenal. And then, of course, you see the Eiffel Tower all in its glory. And we were there for the tour at like golden hour, where the sun was setting. We didn't get to see it at night. And I know it's kind of a mortal sin, but I couldn't get her to go out at night until after she got back. She's like, "Oh, I wish we would have gone at night." So I was just like, "Oh my God, I tried to get her out at night." So if you ever had kids and you're wondering whether or not things are lost on them, I think they are up until a certain age. I mean, I think taking a kid to Disney World when they're 3, it's really more for the parents than it is for the kid going to Disney World. You know what I mean? Because it's like the kid's not going to remember. And I would argue up until like 10, 11, is probably where they're going to really remember. I think my parents took me to Disney when I was 8. And I have fleeting memories of that. And they were great, and they were core memories. And that's what everybody was saying, that you guys are going to have core memories. It's going to be amazing. And that's kind of what I was hoping for. That's why I wanted to stop at like fountains in the middle of the big plaza, or take pictures underneath the Eiffel Tower, because I wanted her to remember these things, and to smell the smells and taste the food and hear the sounds of Paris. And I felt like we did that. We walked. I mean, we walked for like 45 minutes one day when both our feet were killing us. But it's walking through Paris. So, I mean, it's not terrible, right? And there's some pictures of our walk. When you just walk on a street and there's so many trees everywhere in the city, you just feel like you're under an endless canopy of beautiful trees. And we were there before the leaves really started to fall. And this is the day we were there when it was kind of overcast, right? So, I mean, it's the Eiffel Tower. It was magical. I mean, you got a guy doing bubbles right at the park there. But, seeing it in the beautiful sunshine, yes, is probably a little bit better than seeing it in the not so sunshine, right? But, you walking around the park, you're hanging out. I get to see her enjoying it and observing it. And look at this. I mean, that's the part that's stunning. You got to go through security. And, it's a whole thing. It's like going through the airport because they got to check your stuff to make sure you're not there to do harm. But the views from the Eiffel Tower, I mean, second to none in Paris. I mean, they are beautiful. And you really get a sense of how compact Paris is. I mean, yes, there's little parks. It's kind of like New York in that way where they got big, giant park. And then they got small little parks kind of all over the place. Where I would say Chicago's kind of a mix, where you have, Grant Park and Lincoln Park, which are huge, but then you have tons of neighborhood parks. But in Paris, you just see so much history. Like, you have like their financial district out that way. And then, of course, you see this video here. And that was kind of the vibe that we had on that entire trip. And that's like kind of what I just wanted to document here, talking about it. And as I've had time to reflect on it more, I really did love our time there. And I hope my daughter loved the fact that she got to hang out in Paris with her dad. I'm sure when she's older, she's definitely want to hang out with other people in Paris besides her dad. But at 16, I felt like I was a good substitute to, appreciate the time that we had together. So I'll leave you with that. That's the Front Stoop for today. Hanging out in Paris with my kid. After 10 years of saying that I would do it, I did it, and we had a great time. And then it was a whirlwind when we came back. She went to homecoming that week, so it was a whole thing. So I hope it sticks with her, and maybe one day she'll see this video and look back and be like, "Oh my gosh, Dad really was." He thought about all the things, was worried about all the things, because all you try to do is just do right by your kid, right? You just want them to have a good time. You want them to experience life that you see fit to experience. And sometimes that's our ego get in the way. I want her to experience all the good in life and try to shelter her from all the bad. So we got to see all the good that Paris is, got to see a little bit of the effects of the government shutdown in the States, coming back into the States, and ICE and all that stuff. That part was pretty terrible. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we got detained by ICE when we got back to the States because they said that, I had a passport that was lost like 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I had since got a new one and have traveled on said passport to places like Jerusalem, in Israel. So, I got detained and was asked all about that. So it was a good learning moment. And, after being on a plane for 12 hours and then getting detained and knowing what's going on in Chicago at that time with ICE and then the raids, I was a little angry. And she was, why are you so upset? And kind of explained to her why I was upset, because this is happening all over our city. We're getting stopped for no reason. Like, I've since got a new passport. It's active and valid, and somehow I'm still getting stopped. So that was a learning moment there, but we got past it and it was all good. You're tired, right? You just want to show your kid a good time. So anyhow, that is the Front Stoop Podcast. I'll try to do this every week. I thank you for watching. I also have stories from the 78 podcast and the web channel as well. Be sure you check that out, storiesfromthe78.com, or on YouTube, Stories from the 78. Otherwise, I'll see you next week on the Front Stoop. We'll see you.